My name is Benjamin Tavares, and I am studying electrical engineering at Cal Poly. I was out to lunch with a family friend, Scott Wiebe. He works here at Microsanj, and he was telling me some of the stuff about what you guys do here, and he offered to tour me around the facility here. So I came by that weekend, and he showed me around. I really liked what I was seeing, and I applied. So I've done quite a few different things. I started off working with OpenTest and using some of the infrared cameras to basically find the open spaces, like opens in a circuit. Then I got to learn how to use some of the thermoreflectance cameras. I learned how to use the software for the thermoreflectance imaging, and then I actually took some thermal images and did some data analysis on those thermal images. That required like using the cameras and then collecting the data, analyzing the data, and putting it together for a customer. And then that led to a lot of Excel work, visualizing the data, like I said, and putting it all together. And then near the end, I did a little bit of programming, a little bit of, I would say, control systems. I was working with some stepper motors to automate controlling a stage in 3 different axes, so in X, Y, and Z. So basically the goal of that was to move the stage in all different directions so you could move the sample and visualize the sample. I did that using Python, and we connected up a joystick so you could actually just move the joystick to move the sample around rather than pushing buttons. That was really fun. I learned a lot for sure. I would say there were 2 that I found pretty rewarding. First and foremost was doing the stepper motor control application, because I kind of felt like I had a lot of freedom to try new things and really expand on some of the skills that I'd learned in school. And then I also found actually data collection very rewarding as well, just because like I've done in school, I've taken labs and stuff and I've done data collection, but it really forced me to like sit down and analyze and visualize things. So it made me a lot better at using Excel and just taking the data and making it in a way so other people can understand what's going on. I would say I used a lot of my skills from school, but on a different level. So there were a lot of things like that I've definitely touched on. You know, I've used Excel in the past, I've coded a little bit in Python, a little bit in C, but actually applying those skills and putting them into a project or putting them into work for a customer kind of takes those steps to a whole nother level that school doesn't really teach, or I guess it doesn't reach. I had a really good time working with the Microsanj team. Everyone here is really close-knit, so I got on a first-name basis with pretty much everyone here, and everyone was super supportive. I can't remember a time where anyone really made me feel super stressed out about anything, or really made me feel bad, so I wasn't as afraid to really like try things or make mistakes, which I think is really important in like learning things and learning how to do things. Just a few words, I would say fast-paced, and I would say personal. I'd say fast-paced, there's always a lot of stuff going on. There are always multiple projects going at the same time. But at the same time, everyone is working really close together and working on those projects all at the same time with you. So that's why I would also say personal. I would definitely say my Excel skills improved a lot. That's something I kind of look forward to using in my future classes and stuff like that. My data analysis definitely improved tremendously. Like just to be able to take in the data and then think about why things are happening and then put those things together in a report was kind of a skill I felt that I lacked before being here. But right when I got here, I kind of was thrown into the fire, did some data analysis, and I think I really learned a lot from that. Yeah, I think it definitely influenced my career path just because I was mostly interested in control systems and control theory before, but I definitely could now see myself following a career in semiconductors. Just, seeing them under the microscope and like taking the thermal images kind of got me interested in it. The other thing that I didn't really think of, and we kind of talked about this before, but earlier, like I've taken some physics classes, some stuff like that, but I didn't realize like what was going on in those classes, or I guess I wasn't putting two and two together, but I didn't realize how important optics was, and I definitely want to take some optics classes coming up here in my last year at school, because like I said, I was in those classes learning some things about optics, but it didn't really click until I got here and saw the optics being applied in all these different things, like obviously the microscopes and the thermal imaging, and there was a lot of optics, and I thought that was really cool. I'd say engaging. Engaging would be the one word. Like I said, there's like a lot of stuff going on. There are always multiple projects, always something interesting. There's never a dull moment, not a lot of grunt work. There's always something cool going on. I would say just always be proactive and ready to learn. There are obviously going to be, at any internship, things that you haven't, like issues that you haven't encountered before, and the best way to learn how to tackle those issues is by watching other people and learning how they solve those problems and actually solving them yourself. And then the other thing I would say is just take things slow. One of my teachers always says, go slow to go fast, because when you go fast and make mistakes, it can actually cost you more time in the long run than if you just go slow and do things right the first time.